Good afternoon, Northwest, and welcome to the February edition of Husky Headlines. I'm Logan Turk.
And I'm Allison Jones. Have you noticed the new badges that teachers are wearing?
Yes, I have. Nick tells us more about why they're necessary.
Since students returned to Northwest after winter break, a new crisis system has been installed in the building.
So our new crisis system is called Syntegix, it is operated, you've probably seen teachers with this badge, so that's where it all runs from.
So it is a system that allows us to basically triangulate everything in the school when it comes to emergency response. All the employees should have a badge like this that allows them to hit this button a certain number of times, and that allows everyone to basically know kind of what's going on and respond to the correct area of the school.
There will be some announcements when it's activated. There'll be like a flashing light. Students' computer screens and teachers' computer screens will have a lockdown message. So essentially when that happens, we lock our doors, we turn off the lights, and we're quiet so we can listen for next instructions.
This system is widely supported because of its quicker response time compared to previous school protocols.
Important help can get where it needs to go faster than it ever has been able to before. I think that response time is greatly diminished, and so it definitely is already making our schools safer. A lot of medical stuff, a few elopements, a physical altercation, there have been some things, but what's great is the help comes so quickly, right, and that just has to make the school safer.
So we had a series of ways people could contact the office, whether it be with the red button in the classroom or with just a phone call to the office. Those were the two ways that they would let us know that they needed help. We had drills for lockdown and things like that to make sure that our school was safe.
The Syntegix system has already been put into effect and has been used numerous times throughout the district since its installment in January.
It was introduced to us by our friends over in Olathe. Their superintendent talked about it at a superintendent's meeting. And so then it came to our superintendent and brought it to all of us, and we started to look at it. And so what I did was I started calling references all around the southeastern part of the United States that had this system and had it for 3 and 4 years. And I just got rave reviews. They even went so far as to say it had saved lives.
The administration hopes that the new system will become a more reliable and more efficient way of keeping Northwest students as safe as possible.
The response team when the button pushed is going to be the administrators up here in the front office. It's going to be myself and Officer McLean. That's the basic response team that we're going to have. They could always add more people in the school to be a part of that response team if they feel someone is needed on it. But for the most part, it's going to be myself, Officer McLean, and the administrators up here at the front.
It's a quiet way of bringing some help to the room. It doesn't have to be embarrassing to someone or potentially ramp up what's already occurring. Thankfully, we don't have very many of those examples, but they happen. People get upset and stuff happens.
This system seems fairly easy to use, and if it allows us to pinpoint where emergencies are, it just decreases our response time and allows us to hopefully deal with things quicker and safer.
With this new system installed, Northwest seems to be working very well, and as someone who's experienced this system being used firsthand, I can say that Northwest is in safe hands. This is Nick Bogle for Husky Headlines.
Now, let's take a look back at Spirit Week.
next, I share the 4th edition of 30th Anniversary BV&W Trivia. Welcome to the February edition of Blue Valley Northwest Trivia, Huskies. We decided to ask students questions about even more memorable moments in the past 30 years of our school, shared to us by original staff members. What did the first BV&W homecoming sign say?
Will you go to homecoming with me?
Dog pound? Want to go to Hoka with me?
Hoka, question mark?
Instead of having homecoming the first year, we had a banner that just said home because there was no coming back because it was the very first homecoming ever.
How were Northwest's school colors decided upon?
Just preference, I don't know, best color.
Maybe like purple because like in the past it was like a royal color that was super expensive.
So the students who were coming from the other two schools to Northwest were given a survey, and they were allowed to choose the school colors, the mascot, the names of the newspaper, and the yearbook. So the students that were coming over here from High and North chose those.
Finally, what was the average age of a staff member in the math department when the school first opened?
43.
I'm gonna go with 53.
Like 20s?
When we first opened, the average age of the math department was, I think, 25 or 26. So when we first opened, we only had one math department member that was over 40 years old. So it was a super, super young staff. So everybody who came, Blue Valley North had opened from Blue Valley High, and so kind of the youngest teachers went to Blue Valley North, and then from Blue Valley North to Blue Valley Northwest, kind of the youngest teachers went to Blue Valley Northwest. And so we were a super, super young group of people, and so we kind of watched everybody like grow up and get married and have kids, and so it was just a really interesting group because we were all so very, very young.
We hope you learned something new about the history of Northwest. Stay tuned for more unforgettable moments in future editions of Husky Headlines. This is Allison Jones for Husky Headlines. Next, we look at a staff member who rocks in school and outside of school.
Music is a huge part in a lot of students' lives. It's calming, allows focus, and keeps you comfortable. What a lot of people don't know is that within the Northwest Library is someone who has been playing for over 30 years.
The first time I thought about being in a band, this goes back like a long ways. So it was back in the 1970s, when I was like in the 3rd grade. My sister was a huge, like, groupie type fan of this band called the Bay City Rollers. It'd be like a real pop boy band kind of thing now, you know, that kind of thing. And but it was a rock and roll band, and my mom actually took us to go see them. And it was the first time I'd been to a rock and roll concert, and I was blown away. I mean, the lights and the sound, the noise, the loudness, you could feel it. And I remember thinking then, like, I want to do that. And ever since then, I wanted to be in a band. So I stopped playing piano because I didn't think that would get me in a band, because I didn't have like electric keyboard. I had like a big piano. Turns out that could get you in a band too, but I was young, I didn't know. So I learned how to play guitar, and some friends of mine, my junior high, we got together and made a band, and it was so much fun. I mean, we were bad, like we were terrible, but we were loud, we were fast, and we had fun. In it, right from the start, there were always these times when the music would just, you feel it, you know, it moves you. And I also found that you end up getting really close to the people you make music with. So the band is called the Brothers Flannel, because where we play is cold, so we all wear flannel shirts all the time. That's how that happened. Brilliant. I also do music on my own, and the band plays a lot of the same music that I've written and have produced on my own.
Odell met a lot of the band members outside of work.
I played with one of the guys since college, and that was in the 80s, early 80s, and maybe late 70s. And then I met Craig through him, and the other guys through him as well. And we just kind of got together, and because some of the guys were in other bands, and we'd get together occasionally and jam, and we kind of liked it. I play acoustic guitar, and I play bass sometimes when Craig plays guitar. and then I do most of the lead vocals.
Even some retired Northwest staff participate in the band.
Mr. Odell and I started playing together pretty early on. He and I started the same year at Northwest, and so we do a lot of original music in that band. So I just say the main thing is just to start doing it. I mean, songwriting or an instrument, the main thing is just to get started, and don't compare yourselves to others, because there's always going to be somebody that's better than you. And there's always going to be somebody that isn't as good as you. And so you kind of have to let that all go and just kind of work on yourself. And, the best time to really get started is probably yesterday. So I just say if you have a love or if you think you have an interest in learning an instrument or painting or playing golf, I mean, get started on it. Make mistakes and learn from them and keep moving, because life goes quick.
Passion should never be overlooked. This is Eli Dunaway for Husky Headlines.
Hey Logan, how was Sweetheart?
It was lit.
What does that mean?
We go to Ellie, who tells us more about popular slang words and their meanings.
As times change, so does the way we talk. Over the years, they're constantly changing, sometimes making it hard to keep up with. But every generation has their own terms that they use among each other, making it hard for the others to keep up. We decided to ask the students at Blue Valley Northwest what slang words they say the most, and then we had teachers try to guess what some of them mean.
It's fire. It means super cool and awesome.
It's on like it's hot. It's fantastic. It's been terrific.
I say cap a lot, and it means like you're lying.
Like no cap? Oh, okay. It's like limitless, right?
My favorite slang word is tea. It means like gossip. So if somebody has gossip, you say, spill the tea.
Tea? I would assume that's a delicious beverage that you combine with lemonade to get at Arnold Palmer.
It's something that you drink?
Probably sheesh. What does it mean? I think it means whatever you want it to mean. Yeah. Actually. Yeah.
I have no idea. Wow. I don't know.
Probably yeet, and it's just kind of like when you throw something. Mine is be so for real, and it means like, are you serious?
Yeet!
Be so for real means someone who is highly genuine.
Slangtastic. Slangtastic. It means great, you're doing something good.
I would guess it means great, but I have no idea.
Favorite slang word is YOLO. Means you only live once. I feel like that's my motto.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same.
You only live once.
Twin, because it's from like Atlanta, and it's like me and you like twins. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
I would think it means somebody that's trying to be like you.
Although the teachers didn't get all the answers right, they did try. Generations differ from each other so much, especially in the way they talk. This is Ellie Votipka for Husky Headlines.
There's a lot more to being a great teacher than just teaching the curriculum.
I go one-on-one with Mike Arbucci, our orchestra director, who talks about his philosophy for teaching. Northwest's very own Mr. Mike Arbucci has been honored with the 2022-2023 East Central Kansas Music Educators Association High School Orchestra Teacher of the Year Award. I go one-on-one with him to discuss his teaching philosophy and the power of music. What do you feel that some of your teaching strong suits are?
I think the most important part of becoming a teacher is having a positive relationship with your students and your community and your families. I try really hard to foster that, and I think my students and I have a friendly level of give and take. A big part of collaboration is being able to have a sense of humor, and I have a pretty good sense of humor, and my students do with me. So once you've got that relationship and the concept of valuing each other's time as part of class, you can get a lot done.
Who are some students who have really impacted you?
Every student impacts me in orchestra. Truth.
Every single
Logan
one?
Turk impacted me when he was a fourth grader. Every single one. The music is all about collaboration and community. So every sound matters in the orchestra, and every person matters in the orchestra. If you're having a great day, maybe you're going to have an awesome music day too. If you're having a rough day, we need to rally around you. And I want my students to do that. The same for me. I'm human too. So if I'm having a bad day, hopefully they'll rally around me. But all of my students mean a lot to me, really.
What tends to make students most successful in orchestra?
What makes a student successful in orchestra is individual ownership. Full stop. If you own your ability to get better on your instrument and to be a better part of the ensemble, Yo-Yo Ma, famous cellist, he always says it's your job to make everybody else's part sound better. So think about that. You play your own part, but it's your job to make other people sound better. Like you're all backing up each other. I think that's really powerful. So individual ownership. If you own your responsibility as part of the orchestra, doesn't matter if you're in chamber symphony, symphonic orchestra, concert orchestra, one of our after-school clubs, own your own part. It'll make you better.
How has music helped you in your own life?
Gosh, how has music helped me in my own life? Well, it puts food on the table. No, no, I'm kidding. Of course, there's the whole aspect of what gets me out of bed every day. You know, I think when you think about what your future career is, you should think about the fact that you spend over a third of your life doing your career. So it should be something that when you wake up in the morning, you're excited to go to work. I love working with my kids at Blue Valley Northwest. Every day I'm excited to go make music with them. Even if I've had a bad day in some other way, I'm ready to go make music with our kids here. So it keeps me positive.
Well, congratulations on the award. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would just like to say to all the people who are watching this that are thinking about being in music, do it. Do it in high school. Do it in college. Do it in life as a fun activity to do outside of your career. Music makes us better people, and the collaborative part of that builds friendships, and that's super important for you to have those positives in your life.
Arbucci is committed to continuing to bring excellence to the BV&W music department and helping students grow any way he can. This is Logan Turk going one-on-one for Husky Headlines.
We go to Ellie with the top 10 plays from winter sports.
Good afternoon, Northwest, and welcome to the February edition of Top 10. At number 10, we have a junior, Emery Nestor, throwing a strike at a bowling meet on January 30th. At number 9, we have junior Joey Mattioni swatting down a shot in a game against St. Thomas Aquinas on January 10th. The Huskies would go on to win 60-42. At number 8, we have sophomore Carter Hughes pinning an opponent at a duel versus Blue Valley High on January 8th. The Huskies would go on to lose the duel to the Tigers. At number 7, we have senior Dominic Mattioni knocking down a three-pointer in a game against Junction City on January 31st. The Huskies would go on to defeat the Blue Jays 61-49. At number 6, we have junior Katie Mitchell sinking a three-pointer in a game against Blue Valley Southwest on January 13th. The Huskies would go on to beat the Timberwolves 44-38. At number 5, we have the Northwest bowling team placing first overall at a meet on February 3rd, with the boys team breaking the school team record with over 2,000 pins. Senior Dylan Eblin breaking the school 3-game series record with 650 pins, and sophomore Bailey Kinkler and junior Emery Nestor taking first and second place respectively. At number 4, we have the boys swim and dive team placing second overall at the EKL Championship on February 4th, with senior DeMarcus Derensberg placing first in the 50-meter freestyle and 100-meter breaststroke, sophomore John Christensen placing first in the 500-meter freestyle, sophomore Micah Churchill placing first in the 200-meter individual medley, and Derensberg, Christensen, Churchill, and senior Will Christie placing first in the medley relay. At number 3, we have senior James Bai taking first place in the 138-pound weight class at the EKL Wrestling Championship on February 4th, with both JV and varsity wrestling teams placing 5th overall. At number 2, we have sophomore Micah Churchill breaking the Northwest pool record for the fastest 100-meter butterfly at 50.89 seconds, placing first in the event. And finally, at number 1, we have junior Lainey Douglas sinking a three-pointer to secure a 54-52 overtime win against defending 6A state champs Washburn Rural. That's it for this month's edition of Top 10. This is Ellie Botipka with the help of Raven Lopez for Husky Headlines.
Hey Allison, did you put an art class on your enrollment sheet for next year?
No, but I did attempt to go against one of Northwest's award-winning artists.
Welcome back to another H2 Versus episode where we put Headline staff members up against some of our most talented students and teachers. This is H2 Versus Ceramics. Going up against Headline staff member Allison Jones is senior art student Gabby Troutner. Troutner has a long history in the BV&W art program and has had pieces selected for the Tim Murphy Annual High School Art Competition. Troutner beat out over 800 other students to receive honorable mention and first place prizes for 2 of her pieces.
I've been doing art for forever. My grandma was an art teacher, so she really got me into it, just like painting rainbows with like watercolor and stuff when I was younger. And then My sophomore year is really when I got into it because I took design fundamentals my freshman year and I really loved it.
As for sophomore Headline staff member Allison Jones, it's fair to say art wasn't her calling.
I have very limited experience with art. I took maybe 2 art classes in middle school, and that's about as far as my art education goes, because throughout high school I haven't tended to take any art classes. So it was kind of a new experience for me going into ceramics, something I have no experience with except for the few projects we did in elementary school.
My favorite type of art is 3D. I think really working with my hands and creating things and being able to use my hands to fix little tiny things right there is amazing, and that's my favorite part.
Art teacher Carly Kimbrough is a mentor for Chatner and notices her talent and compassion.
Seeing her every day puts a smile on all the art teachers' faces because she's always positive, but she also just helps out my younger students in ceramics and jewelry. She's always willing to show someone how to use a tool or a machine, help them on the wheel. So she's just a helpful student to those younger artists.
I learned from Gabby literally everything. I learned kind of what the tools are supposed to look like and do, which I think was important, but more importantly, I think I kind of learned from her that you can just have fun with it, and it's not really about the end product. It's more about how much fun you have with it and how you're able to express yourself while you do the art.
I think I knew what to do, and then hearing her the clay fall off the thing, and I thought that was funny, and watching her problem solve is really what art is about, is problem solving. How she was talking about I'll just make it look more creative even though it doesn't look that good physically. I was yeah, that's what art is about. Honestly, it's just about your creativity, and I think that she really figured that out really fast, and I thought that was really cool.
BV&W art teachers Chris LaValle and Carly Kimbrough were brought in to give our artists some feedback.
The walls here, they're a little uneven as far as they're kind of thin and thick and thin
and a bit thick overall. These
yeah.
are a lot thinner, although it could be a tiny bit fragile, but this definitely is more uniform from the bottom to the rim and not as heavy.
Light,
yeah, so it would be easier to use if it actually had liquid in it.
I think my arm would get tired.
So this would definitely probably be easier to use.
Yes.
Both of them have fairly decent designs.
Yeah, I do like the design. It looks like there's a dog.
There's a dog there.
Dog and hearts.
Although each mug has some strengths and weaknesses, the results were clear.
I would prefer to drink out of this one.
I think I succeeded at the overall design and just the creativity aspect of it, which I think surprised me in itself. And even if it doesn't look the smoothest and straightest around the edges, I think it was just a fun experience, and I really enjoyed it.
I think everyone could be an artist. You don't have to be amazing. Your art doesn't have to be in all the galleries or whatever. It just is a fun thing to do during the day, and I think everybody can just make something out of clay if they want to.
The art department is just a really, really special place, and I just want everyone to know that if you haven't yet, to take an art class, because it's really fabulous.
In the end, mugs can come in all shapes, sizes, and designs, but it's the artistic process that's the true winner. This is Rachel Gillum for Husky Headlines.
Next, we address an issue that teenagers across the country are dealing with every day. 50%. This percentage may seem insignificant, but I assure you it is not. It instead speaks volumes to the world we live in. According to the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics, 50% of teenagers have misused a drug at least once.
When the game on the line, you can't fold and you can't bend. Y'all be playing it safe and I be going for the win. Remember back when they was doubting on the kid. Now they tuned in cause my game too legit. Stayed down, remain humble and I made it work. Crazy how I came out so clean from the dirt. We was using candles on the nights the lights ain't work. We ain't never going back to that and that I merch. Turn your back on me, the worst mistake you ever make. Keep my grass cut.
At Northwest, we have a sobriety group available for students that are interested in receiving resources and additional support during their school day for relapse prevention. If you're interested in joining the sobriety group or just hearing about your options, you are always welcome to come to the counseling office, and you can talk to me about the sobriety group or your individual counselor about something else, and we can just kind of have that confidential conversation of what your options are, what it would look like, and you can know your own choices. I think it can be a really positive thing for students to feel supported during their school day. Of course, the path of sobriety can be a really difficult road to go on, and so anytime you can talk with people that are in like experiences and working towards the same goals can be a really helpful thing for somebody.
BV&W isn't the only place that can help you along your sobriety journey. I had the pleasure to speak with First Call CEO Emily Hage about their mission.
First Call offers substance use, education, prevention, and recovery support services. And that means is we're doing a lot of information sharing, like I said, resource sharing and referral for individuals and families dealing with substance use. We're also doing a lot of just community-wide education. So right now we're very focused on educating the community around fentanyl poisoning, you know, what people can be doing about it, what's Narcan, how can we make sure that that's a tool in everybody's toolkit. You just need to kind of take one step, and we're here for people who want to do that.
If you or someone you know struggle with an addiction, please reach out to your counselor or make your first call. This is Logan Turk for Husky Headlines.
That's it for the February edition of Husky Headlines.
Have a great day, Northwest.